This is Bamboo Spine Refusion. And this is a story about a man, a boa constrictor with a LinkedIn profile, and the organizational chart nobody showed him. Stay with us. So, our story really begins with an arrival. You see, Reginald, the extra-dimensional boa constrictor with a LinkedIn profile, well, he didn't bother knocking. He just showed up, sometime in his early 20s, coiled himself right around the spine, set up a few conference tables along the vertebrae, and just got to work. It was a hostile takeover, plain and simple. And the host? He wasn't even on the distribution list for the memo. Reginald's whole business model, his core competency, is something he calls the squeeze. Now, this isn't some dramatic all-at-once kind of thing. No, Reginald is patient. It's a sustained, strategic pressure. It's a long-term vision, you see, and its entire budget is funded by the host's energy. Every bit of focus, every errand you run, every emotional connection you make, it all runs through Reginald's accounts first.
And this is where you get what we call the crypt mornings. You know, the ones where you wake up feeling like whatever happened overnight, it definitely wasn't rest. And it also explains the trap of the cartwheel days. Those are the days Reginald strategically loosens the squeeze just a little. You feel normal, great even, so you spend 3 days of energy reserves and about 4 hours. And then, like clockwork, the squeeze resumes and the crypt returns. It's an absolute masterclass in resource management, just not for your benefit. Now, to maintain this kind of grip, Reginald doesn't work alone. Oh no, he operates a full corporate structure, a completely invisible org chart designed for one single purpose, to keep him invisible and to make the host question his own reality. It's a conspiracy of departments, really, and it's staffed by people who don't even realize they're on the payroll. Let's take a look at how these divisions actually operate. Okay, so in the medical division, you've got your Chief Water Officer, whose main directive is to suggest hydration. Then there's the VP of Psychosomatic Affairs. His move is elegant, really. He just suggests it's all stress, redirecting the whole investigation inward. And of course, the head of inconclusive results, running tests that always come back clean because Reginald's compliance department is specifically designed to avoid all the standard panels.
And then there's community relations. This division is subtle. It operates in that little gap between the cartwheel day everyone sees and the crypt day that always follows. See, Reginald doesn't require malice. He just needs blind spots. He uses loved ones to deploy his key talking points. Lazy, dramatic, you're just exaggerating. They see you do a cartwheel on a Tuesday, so they just can't understand why you can't get out of bed on Wednesday. All of this eventually culminates in the legal division, because when something like disability is on the line, Reginald activates his Chief Disbelief Officer, in this case, a federal judge. The ruling? Exaggerating. And the disorientation isn't just about being disbelieved by someone. It's having that disbelief made official, stamped, on the record. A major victory for Reginald's long-term legal strategy. So you're reading these dire statistics, a future that aligns perfectly with Reginald's 5-year plan, and it leads to this moment of just absolute clarity. There's only one logical conclusion. It's time to launch a counteroffensive. It was time for a new initiative. The new strategic plan was simple and, frankly, brilliant. Step 1, become Cobra Commander, the one with the working infrastructure. Step 2, bake cookies. And Step 3, overcome everything. Reginald had spent years demonstrating what a well-run covert operation looked like, and now those very lessons were about to be applied against him. And this is where we start to see the real weakness in Reginald's bureaucracy. They had not budgeted for Cobra Commander energy. They certainly hadn't budgeted for the strategic deployment of cookies. The Chief Water Officer's memo says it all. He saw a coping mechanism. He completely missed the tactical maneuver. But this kind of fight, it takes a toll. Years of a sustained squeeze, of a fully staffed conspiracy working against your own credibility. That has a cost that even strategically deployed cookies can't entirely cover. When the pressure is constant like that, you adapt. It's not really a choice. You build something. It happens so slowly, the way a coral reef is built. Just one calcified response at a time until this whole new structure is just there. You don't design it, the nervous system builds it just to survive. An alter ego, armor for the war that Reginald required. And this armor is useful, it really is. It can function in rooms where the original host would have just had to sit down. It can absorb the squeeze and convert it directly into forward motion. But like all armor, it's heavy. It is so hard to take off. And It doesn't always know when the battle is over. So the day comes when the emergency is no longer quite so urgent, but the alter ego, who was built for persistence, keeps showing up in full battle dress. And eventually you have to have the conversation, a conversation of gratitude, but also of dismissal. It's time to find out who you are when he's not the one answering the door anymore. One final, spectacular cartwheel window created just enough momentum for one last push. It was enough for a brief window of insurance, and it was just enough to get to a rheumatologist, someone who was trained to recognize exactly what Reginald had been building in the spine this whole time. The doctor said the name, Ankylosing spondylitis. And here is what happens when you finally give Reginald a name. The entire conspiracy, the one built on him being invisible, it just collapses. The medical division loses all its cover. The community relations team goes quiet. The name is a flashlight. The squeeze continues, but the org chart is just paper. So what does life look like now? Well, it's a détente. Reginald is still there, coiled, but the power dynamic has fundamentally shifted. There is now a counterparty in the room. There's a medication that shows up to his board meetings and argues procedural points. The whole negotiation has changed. We've obtained an internal memo from Reginald, CEO and founder, RE Annual Strategic Review. It reads, "The host has stabilized. This was not in our projections. The host has also begun documenting our entire operation and sharing it publicly. I have reviewed the situation and concluded that the host is, against all reasonable projections, going to be fine. I find this professionally irritating." So, a final note. If you have a Reginald coiled around whatever part of you he has claimed, running his entire budget on your energy, this is for the version of you who might still be in the waiting room. The name is coming. And listen, the name does not stop the squeeze, but it dissolves the org chart. And once that org chart is gone, the negotiation is finally just between you and him. No more Chief Disbelief Officer, no more Chief Water Officer, just you, the diagnosis, and Reginald, who is significantly less powerful when everyone can finally see him. Which leaves us with the most interesting question in this whole story. It's not who survived Reginald. It's who exists now that surviving is no longer the only thing on the schedule. Bamboo spine refusion. Refusing what the body tried to make permanent. We'll see you next time.